It is time to prepare to trade the best setups at the best prices. In terms of last night's game plan, you guys are well aware I was planning to go long and buy if the SPY was breaking above 691 for an all-time high push. With that being said, I noticed during extended hours at 1:59 a.m., the SPY was beginning to break above our level. So I decided to buy ES future contracts at 6,073, and I ended up selling them in the morning at 7,013 for a 40 point plus move. With that being said, we had many wins on the options trades. Me personally, I decided to not alert any options trades, and the reason for that being is my strategic game plan already played out during the extended hours trading session, and the market was extremely choppy and I did not like the price action. So after that 40 point spike on ES, I decided to call it from there. GROAR absolutely crushed it on the 0 day options once again. The green streak shall continue. With that being said, the stock market is setting up for another phenomenal, lucrative trading opportunity, and I'm going to be showing you step by step how we're planning to trade it. It's going to be another simple game plan. Heading into 2026, if you do not want to miss out on the best setups at the best prices, make sure that you are trading futures during extended hours. Every single trade this year on futures that I've made, that I've alerted, has been a substantial win. We're talking 20 to 40 point plus moves on the same day. And a lot of the times, some of the best game plans have played out during extended hours trading session. Key times being around 8 p.m. to 12 a.m., sometimes 2 a.m., and then sometimes early in the later in the pre-market towards 7 to 9 a.m. With that being said, we're gonna get straight into the game plan. So like I said, I'm gonna be going over the trades that we ended up making towards the end of the video. As you can see at 1:50 a.m., I decided to follow through with my game plan once again, and I ended up buying ES at 6973, setting the profit target at 7,005 plus. This is the number one best setup that I've seen all week. And then in the morning at 11:55 a.m., towards the exact peak, I ended up selling at 7,013. GROAR crushed it once again with the 0 date options. We're going to be going over those trades towards the end, starting off the day with massive wins, many consistent big wins once again. So, in terms of the SPY, first things first, we are going to go over the overall levels, the new levels of interest, the weekly chart foundation, the daily chart foundation, right? So, in terms of the weekly chart, if you watched Sunday's game plan, I told you green, red, green on a break and retest is bullish. The best thing you can do this week in terms of the easiest way to make money is to buy calls, is to go long on dips. Every single dip this week has recovered. SPY continues to try to push higher and higher. And if you look at the weekly chart, it is attempting to close green, and we are currently gapping up during extended hours. The pattern that works over 90% of the time worked once again. So, with that being said, losing remains a personal choice. Now, we got the weekly chart pattern. SPY's gapping up, SPY's reacting bullish. The weekly chart pattern says 9 out of 10 times with this pattern, even greater than 9 to 10 times, likely 95% plus at a time with this pattern, it's going to try to close overall bullish for the week. So let's get into this. What is the daily chart telling us? The daily chart is telling us this. We have previous resistance, reacting as support, attempting to break out, right? So the SPY is attempting to form higher support right here, above the previous resistance, above this previous resistance. And with that being said, during extended hours trading session, we are currently experiencing a bigger move at 694, gapping up 2 points above the previous closing price currently, right? So I'll be explaining to you if there is going to be a futures trade here setting up. I'm going to be watching throughout the night as well. We are hitting some key levels during extended hours trading session. But basically, what the weekly chart pattern says, the vast majority of the time, the market's going to try to close green and bullish with the green, red, green overall bullish weekly chart pattern, right? So we're going to continue to focus on calls at oversold levels and calls at break and retest levels as the market is forming higher support and nearly at all-time highs during the extended hours trading session, right? So it's very, very unlikely that we close bearish this week. The market is literally pushing towards all-time highs. And in terms of this week, I literally told you all you have to do is just buy the dips, sell the rips, buy the dips, sell the rips, buy the break and retest, sell the rips. Everything I said worked to an exact T. So with that being said, it's going to continue to work to an exact fucking T, and the game plan is SPY is gapping up based off the weekly chart pattern 9 plus out of 10 times. It's supposed to be fucking bullish. So we got that strong foundation favoring calls for oversold dips and break and retest. And in terms of the daily chart pattern, if you look at the daily chart pattern, we have a break and a retest, a break and a retest. So SPY formed higher support right here. Take a look at this, right? This is resistance. This is a breakout. This is a retest. It closed, it recovered, it formed higher support, it bottomed at our best level to buy calls, right? Now, in terms of today, it pushed higher, nearly hitting all-time highs, and look, it's closing above higher support above this previous day highs, right? So it keeps on forming higher support, it keeps on pushing higher, and it keeps on gapping the fuck up. So with that being said, that's all bullish. Now, in terms of the daily chart pattern, what does SPY usually do in this daily chart pattern when you have this red middle close in a situation like this, placed at a break and retest, higher support forming? Well, I went back throughout the chart history and it's telling me there's a couple key levels of interest. Based off of this red middle daily candlestick right here, it's saying that the previous closing price to previous day lows are going to be the absolute most crucial levels to be trading at and likely the best levels to be buying call options for an oversold dip in a gap close reversal, since the SPY is currently gapping up during extended hours. And it's also saying that the previous day highs towards all-time highs are going to be key levels of interest to watch for as well. If the market reacts bearish, it could drop first, and we are currently at a breakdown retest level where the market could drop first during futures hours trading session at this level we're going to be approaching, which I'll be explaining to you here shortly. This is the level right here where it could try to drop first and then come back down to the previous closing price, then begin to have a gap close reversal. This is a breakdown and retest level. Basically, even on a bullish trend, the market will try to drop and sell off first right here at 694.64. You can also keep your eyes on 694, right? This is previous support. The low of this is support. The low of this support. Massive sell off, gapping up, right? So, in terms of the futures trading hours session, the most likely outcome in terms of the futures hours trading session is when it hits this zone, it drops first, and then we look to go long and buy the dip towards the gap for a break and retest gap close reversal right here at 692.24 previous closing price, right? So in terms of most likely outcomes, since we are gapping up, the overall trend is likely to be bullish in terms of a scalp against the trend that is likely to play out during futures hours trading session rather than normal trading hours session, since we're already at the level, and plus it gapped up, so it can try to drop back down, close the gap, and then have another reversal. And if you study the core trend, that has been occurring. SPY has been having many frequent drops this week, and it's been bottoming at exact break and retest levels. There was a resistance level right here, a break and retest level right here. It had the breakout, bottomed at the overall retest in terms of the close, gapped up, and then it came back down, bottomed at the previous day highs. So the most likely outcome in a situation like this, especially since we're a little bit overextended for the micro for the short term with this very nice upside move during the futures hours trading session, is that we actually drop first during futures. I mean, take a look. Look at this overall pattern right here. It's a fucking gold mine. This is support. This is a sell off. This is a retest. This is a retest, sell off on the breakdown retest, right? And what I'm telling you is your new breakdown and retest, and it's literally the same 30-minute candle and the same confirmation. If you go back and you compare January 3rd, this green candle right here, and then this red daily candlestick right here, this green candle right here, and this red daily candlestick right here, support, cracks, retest, sells off, and then the support level right here again, test, sells off. Well, if you look, the same pattern, this pattern right here, where it retested, sold off, where it retested, sold off, it literally just formed again, right? This right here and this right here. Now, the interesting opportunity about this is, this is a breakdown and retest situation where actually going shorting futures, betting against them, on ES towards this overall zone right here. Basically, the most likely outcome is when it hits this zone, it has a little pullback for a nice little scalp against the overall bullish trend. And the trend is likely to be bullish since the market's having a nice gap up right now, right? And then when it drops back down to the break and retest level for a gap close reversal at 692.24, right? So what we know is if SPY gaps up, the overall trend is bullish. The weekly chart foundation says the most likely outcome is bullish, right? So everything favors calls. Now, in terms of an opportunity for puts, it does make sense to potentially even go short if you wanted to trade against the trend. If you're seeing bearish reactions, lower highs, red bearish 30-minute candlestick confirmation, resistance, right? No reason to go short or buy puts into a strong green bullish 30-minute candlestick chart that's breaking out, retesting, forming higher support, green, red, green, break and retest, green, red, green, break and retest, higher support, right? Basically, if you use the 30-minute chart, you'd have absolutely no reasons to go short into bullish uptrends, into bullish patterns like this: green, red, green, breakout, retest, previous resistance, green, red, green, breakout. It just keeps on retesting, and these 30-minute candles just keep on closing higher above the previous 30-minute candles, consistently breaking out, right? Literally, the 30-minute chart can save your life in terms of following the overall trend. But in terms of where a trend reversal can occur, we could see a little drop and we could see a little trend reversal right here, which is what I would prefer to happen, and to not even go short, but to just get in at a lower level to buy at 692.24. Literally, your best level to buy, and it's already playing out, is this break and retest zone right here. You know, you got some break and retest resistance levels right here, and it's also at a gap close reversal level. These are going to be your best zones to really eye calls. Your slightly higher level is 692.80, right? This was a lot of resistance in the pre-market, strong breakout, retest, retest, little drop, but it's still a break and retest level. But your true best oversold levels are towards those previous day lows, but really at that previous closing price. So these are your true best levels to be buying call options on the overall SPY right here, to be going long on futures as well, right in between these zones. If you're seeing one of these zones react bullish, you go long. If you're seeing one of these levels bottom, breakout, and retest, you go long, right? So if SPY's reacting bearish right here, instead of going long right here at the higher level, if it drops right here and reacts bullish, starts to go up, then you go long in the middle of the channel, or then you go long at the first initial level that you didn't go long at because it didn't react bullish, right? But in terms of a level that you can consider literally just auto buying into, I would say the previous closing price, 692.24, and the previous day lows, 691.24, absolute best levels for calls. Be very meticulous and strategic when going with the higher level. You know, I wouldn't really encourage people to go with the higher level first. I would more encourage them to go with the previous closing price towards 692.24, and then the higher level is going to be more reputable when you know, if we have a little oversold drop in the middle or at the lower zone, and then it breaks out retest, right? But the point being is, this level, this level, this level are your best levels to buy calls, right? Your auto buy zone is right down here. Now, obviously, if SPY had a massive breakout above 694.60, went to like 695, 696, then I would lean more towards the higher level. But regardless, I'm not going to nickel and dime this. If I'm seeing bullish reactions, I'm willing to get in at the higher level at 692.80 on the pullback, where it's likely going to drop right around here at 694.80 to even resistance right here. If you zoom a little bit out, you got some very strong resistance right here towards this 696.50, which would actually be the next level to go short and buy puts, right? Just be a little bit cautious because we are in an extremely crazy market, and it could attempt to close bullish. So it could be a situation where overall it has some small pullbacks at those levels for puts, where it drops first right here for some nice scalps against the trend, if that's something you're interested in even doing. 694.60 and a 696. But just be a little cautious in terms of holding for big wins, and don't go green to red, because one of the potential outcomes is we can have a very strong bullish close, and this can just blow through the new all-time highs, right? It just keeps on recovering and breaking, retesting at every dip. So that's your levels. That's your overall first main game plan, and that's the strategic game plan if we gap up. Now, before we get into the second game plan, where if SPY gaps down and if SPY goes below our bearish levels, that's going to be our second game plan. But right now, the first one's playing out. You know, in this overall channel, we show you how to trade both ways: how to go long, how to go short, how to determine and confirm it, right? How to determine if there's a break of trend, right? Right now, the trend's overall bullish, and it's still going to try to drop first at the levels. We show you how to do everything. You don't have to scalp against the trend. The easiest thing you could do is just trade the overall trend. Us personally, we do it all. But look, I want to show you this pattern um, on why this is likely to go up. So take a look. You see this like U, look at the U. You see the U forms, then it retests, right? And then it spikes, then it drops, then it spikes back up. So look, the U forms, it drops, it has a little spike, drops, keeps on pushing higher, little drop, keeps on pushing higher, right? And then here we go. We got the same pattern again. We got this U, drops, recovers, bullish uptrend, little drop, bullish uptrend. So look, the best thing you can do heading into tomorrow, and like I said, the most likely outcome is gonna try to drop first at 694.60 and also at 696 to 697, right? Those are your drop first zones. The smartest thing you can do is buy an oversold pullback. And your oversold level zone starts right here at 693. It is considered an oversold level, but your true best auto buy zone is 692.24 to 691.31. The higher levels are scalps against the trend. 694.60 and 696, right? But look, I'll give you an even. So look, if we're reacting bullish right here and the markets say we go right here, right? Say we go right here, we drop back down, markets reacting bullish, oversold trend reversal zone, break and retest zone. And look, I'll give you one more break and retest level. I don't want you to go higher than this. This is pushing it. So look, this will be the final break and retest level. Look, 693.80. 693.80. That's your final one. Do not go higher than that. You know, in terms of the next level above that, it's going to be at 694.60, and then above that, 695s, but don't go higher than that. So look, this is a break and retest level. That's your absolute highest. Do not get in on that right away because, like I said, the market will try to drop first towards this zone and it will try to go under 694. The only way you get in 694 right away is if it goes like straight up and breaks through to like 696. That's the only way to even consider it. And you still need the best confirmations. But look, what I'm telling you is if it's reacting bullish at 693, just get in. If not, give it a little bit of time. Automatically get in towards 692.24 to 691 zone, right? And then once you see whether it's at this level, this level, this level, it's beginning to reverse. It's beginning to act bullish. It's beginning to break and retest. So for example, green, red, green, support, 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 resistance, 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 breakout, higher support, higher support, higher support, retest, green, red, green, higher support, higher support. Pay attention to where the 30-minute candlesticks are closing. Are they closing above previous 30-minute highs, previous 30-minute resistance? Pay attention to the patterns. Green, red, green's bullish. Green, double red, green is bullish, right? So with that being said, you know, if you're seeing a lot of bullish reactions, say this drops to 693, right? If it drops to 693, 692 zone, right? It looks bullish, you go long. If you then see a bullish reaction in a break and retest above 693.80, then you can go long at that level. The only other way to do it is if it breaks above like 696 and then drops to 694, but you need the absolute best confirmations, right? So if it's reacting bullish right here and you go long, another trade is once it breaks above 694, you go long again. But the first initial reaction, it will attempt to drop first when it tests this level right here. This is the gold mine level, dude. Look at this. Look at this pattern, man. This is what I'm telling, like this, it doesn't get more fucking in terms of pattern recognition, it doesn't get better than this, man. Pay attention to this pattern because it's so similar. Take a look at this. Green, red, green, bullish spike, red facing down. You see the low of this? This is support. And then you see how it just sells off. And then once it spikes back up to this previous support, it sells off. And then once it spikes back up to that previous support, it sells off, right? The same pattern just formed, except in terms of the bullish confirmation right here. It's a green, double red, green, and then the red facing down. And then you got this support right here that hasn't really been tested at 694.70. And dude, the market's been having massive pullbacks at these breakdown and retest levels. And we're currently gapping up. And there's a gap to fill below at 692.24. And the market loves to have little reversals at breakdown and retest levels when it's in the right situation like it is now. And the market also loves having gap close reversals. And if you think about this hindsight, the market, you know, could attempt to close bullish, but it can only go so high. And right now, we are very early. We are very, very early into the night here, you know? And we're already gapping up 2 points, which is why I say the most likely outcome is we drop first at this level based off the patterns, but it has to do with timing and alignment. You know, it would be very unusual for the market to just keep on ripping and breaking out during this futures hours trading session when it can only go so high. And there's now a gap to fill below at 692.40. And I've been noticing there's some sort of like magnet pattern within the daily chart. And again, these are things that people don't talk about in terms of pattern stacks. I have a pattern stack where I'm noticing for the short term, the SPY has been retracing back to oversold break and retest levels and gap close reversal levels, and then it's been reversing. And it's also been pulling back at breakdown and retest levels, right? So this was resistance, right? This was your breakout, and then it gapped down at 694, and then it retraced back to that, and it actually even went lower, but then it retraced back towards that previous resistance, right? Break and retest, and then it pushed higher. But look, then it retraced back for the break and retest, right? And then it's been having reversals, not just at the break and retest oversold dips, like I've been telling you to buy all week, but also at the breakdown and retest levels. Every time there's a breakdown and retest level with these recent patterns, like right here, this is support, sells off, retest, drops. This is support, sells off, retest, drops, support, retest, drops, support, retest, drops, support, retesting will attempt to drop, right? But you can't just blindly buy into that, even though it isn't the most likely outcome, because, dude, who buys puts into candles like these? This is a bullish uptrend, but you have to see in hindsight where the reversals can occur, and that would be right here. And then the level above that would be 696 if it's not reacting bearish. But if it reacts bullish first, then comes back down and reacts a little bit bearish, then you get in instead of getting in right away because there was no bearish confirmation. Unless it's an auto level, which it's not, but it's a very strong level to consider going short during futures hours trading session. But if it blew through that level, then you would just wait to go short towards 696. That's more of an auto entry if that happened during futures. And then at some point, if it comes back down and reacts bearish here, then you go short on it, right? But anyways, wanted to clarify and point all of that out because that's something I strongly believe that nobody's talking about. And it's the most simplest way to determine and confirm the most likely outcomes of the overall market, man. In terms of simplicity, I'm extremely confident in this overall game plan. Like I said, if it were my preference, I would prefer an opportunity to go long at 693, 692, 691. But I'm telling you, do not nickel and dime the SPY. 693 is fucking crucial. And then if it does bottom at 693, 694 is your last level to be going long, right? We don't want to be going long and pushing this to the absolute max fucking limits, trying to go long at a break and retest level right here, right? Only way you can do that is if it had a strong breakout and then instantly drop back down 2 to 3 points quickly for a nice little reversal, right? The only way I really like to trade, unless there's some sort of strong pattern, but in a situation like this, the only way I would really consider like higher levels for calls that are technically levels for puts first is if the SPY had a very strong break above the higher level. And then instead of buying into the initial break, if it dropped back down to retest, then a bullish confirmation, right? But the game plan stands where everything I've explained. I'm extremely confident that if you use this information, you should be green and you should be printing money at the speed of light because in terms of trading, it doesn't get more easier and simple than this. And anyone in our group who trades alongside us is well aware on how simple this is, man. So with that being said, that is the game plan. Now, just to get into the bearish game plan, and this is the least likely outcome, and the reason why this is the least likely outcome is because the weekly chart foundation is signaling bullish, and also the SPY is currently gapping up, and the daily chart pattern says if SPY gaps up, it's going to be bullish. If it gaps down, it's going to be bearish. So if it does gap down, right, and we start going below the previous day lows, look, this is the free fall level. It has to go under this. So for this to happen, it would have to quickly fucking sell off and open up with a gap down. But basically, if we go below, and even doing this is like, dude, this is like playing with fucking fire. In terms of this idea of like buying puts on a gap down, it truly is tough. It really is. Even if the market somehow gap down, it genuinely is tough. It would genuinely hurt to even consider and do it because we got the strongest bullish pattern and it's already gapping the fuck up. But, you know, this in a situation like this can happen like one out of every fucking maybe fucking 15, 20 times. Like this very unusual for something like this to happen. But if it did gap down and it went below, I would say 691, it could experience a very nice pullback and it could go to 686, it could go to 685, it could go to 682. I mean, in that situation, I would only look for calls towards 682 to 685, but it's just so fucked. And the reason why it's so fucked is because, you know, even if this gap down and react bearish, we have some very strong levels to go long, but you have to be careful because if SPY gaps down, I can just blow through these levels, So there is a break of trend and SPY gaps down. Like I said, this is the least likely thing to happen, but if it does gap down, you need to be aware of what likely could happen. But it's like it's already gapping up, and the bullish weekly pattern and the daily chart pattern says if it gaps up, and the weekly chart pattern says it's going to try to close strong for the week. Best thing you can do is just buy the fucking dips. I'm telling you, do not nickel and dime the dips on a gap up. If SPY has this gap up and into the pre-market or into later, it's back towards 693, 692, 691s. Don't nickel and dime it, just get in. Just start getting it at 693. It's already gapping up, just at least start getting on towards 693. That's what I would recommend. Strongest trade idea, right? But it's just like, even if it does gap down, it's like, dude, look at the levels. You know, you have very strong support, very strong break and retest level. That's why I'm saying, like, the market would be fucked, and it really would be fucked to consider trading if the market does gap down, because this weekly chart pattern works the vast majority of the time. It's something that I personally wouldn't like betting against, even if it signaled that this could be the one out of, fucking 10 times where it finally fucking happens. So that's one of the reasons why I would just sway away from, if the market's having a big gap down, just sway away from trading. If you wanted to do it, you could take one YOLO on a put, and then you could wait for a key trend reversal on calls towards 682 to 684, 685. Like I said, in terms of simplicity, best setups and best prices, I'm well aware of what the most likely outcome is. I'm well aware what the best setups, the best prices are. I'm also well aware if there's a break of trend and if I'm interested in trading that break of trend. And what I would really say is, if the market does open up with a gap down and it's reacting bearish and it's selling off below 691, what I would say is this: the best thing you can do is take a put towards open into red bearish 30-minute candlestick confirmations, get in, get out, leave a runner towards the close for an overall bearish close, and be very meticulous and careful if you're going to try a call, because it can close bearish and it's considered against the trend on a massive gap down. So in that particular situation, the only levels I would strongly consider for calls, but you need the best confirmations without a doubt: 682, 683, and then 684, 685. So that is the game plan. I genuinely believe if you use this game plan, you use the levels, you use the information, you use the 30-minute chart, you follow this properly, you're gonna print. And a lot of you are gonna question on why you're not trading futures, because, dude, the amount of volatile moves with my game plans that have been playing out at my levels, like yesterday was a prime example. I literally said in last night's video, if SPY gaps up, if it goes above 691, I'm just going to automatically get in. Sometimes I'll have those trade ideas. Sometimes my trade ideas don't even need confirmation. Sometimes the confirmation is all it has to do is go above a level for calls and below level for puts, right? Those are some of the easiest trade that any beginner can do. It's like you don't need any confirmations. You just need clear instruction. If it goes above this level, I get in, I go long. I give you specific times to do it. It's like, dude, I was looking at futures last fucking night at fucking 2 a.m. I'm sitting here saying, dude, I posted this game plan, and the game plan said that if SPY goes above 691, this shit's gonna rocket to 694 to start to close that gap. So I was looking during extended hours, and I'm saying, oh shit, this is gonna play out during extended hours. I gotta buy ES. I gotta trade futures, and that's exactly what the fuck I did, man. You know, the gap's filled. Now we got a gap fill right here for looking for that gap close reversal right there. Um, at 692.18. Also, we got a situation right here with another gap at 600, and here, let me go to the daily chart, make this clear. So we actually got two gaps. Wow, this is very interesting. So look, your most oversold best gap is right here at 690.44 to 691.50. That is your best zone for calls. You go long on ES at this level, it should bounce first, even if the trend does flick fucking bearish. You can get in, get out, leave runners for the bigger move if it's a bullish trend, a reversal, right? If it can be that. And then if you see 693 to 692.18, break and retest gap close reversal zone, reacting bullish, right? Those are your absolute best levels, dude. This is cracked. These are all the best gap close reversal, break and retest levels. You buy, you hold, you go fucking long. Look, the wisest thing you can do if the market opens put a gap up is to buy a dip and do not nickel and dime it. So I'm gonna do one last thing right here, and what we're actually gonna do is we're gonna measure on what's considered an appropriate dip to be buying heading into tomorrow. And I don't think it's gonna be like a very massive dip, unless this kept on going fucking higher. But let's just take a look at those patterns. So I'm gonna go back to those overall patterns, and I'm gonna take a look at this. Let's see. So it had the V chop spiked. So we're just gonna look for some small pullbacks. So right here, 680 to 678. V chops right here. This is key. What is this? 689. See, okay, so look, a 2 point pullback. A 2 point pullback is considered a very strong foundation if SPY gaps up to be going long on an oversold dip, especially if it's at one of our levels 693, 692, 691. A 2 point pullback, wherever the pullback happens, which is likely going to be right fucking here, 694.60, and also 696.50. So heading into tomorrow, in terms of starting to buy the dip, you need to think of a 2 point drop from wherever it fucking drops from. Doesn't necessarily matter where it drops from as long as it's a 2 point drop. But ideally right here. It'd be very, very nice right here at 694.60. If it blasted all the way up fucking here, it's more ideal on a 3 to 4 point drop. It gets a little bit more complex when it could be lower to a 2 if more time goes on, stuff like that. But I'm not gonna be getting all into that, man. This gets very strategic, man. But for what I'm giving you a night before in advance, everyone should be able to be very green and very profitable with this information, dude. We're green every single day. We have a fuck ton of members joining every single day. And the reason why they're joining is because they use these game plans and they say, wow, I use these levels. I use the 30-minute chart. I use the strategies. I use the confirmations. And like, dude, everything this guy says, it works. It prints. So if it's not working for you, maybe trading's not for you because it's working for me. It's working for us. We have a ton of members joining. The members who are joining, the vast majority of the members stay because if you haven't noticed, all we do is win. It's unlimited winning, unlimited printing, dude. You know how many moves this year I caught on ES where I made over 30, 40 points? How the fuck can I be red? Like, dude, this is my one trade on the day. And the reason why I didn't make any other fucking trades is because I looked at the chart on SPY and I remembered my game plan. And I said, okay, what's SPY doing? I said, oh, it ain't doing shit. It's fucking topping at the gap close reversal level where I told you it's going to drop first at 694 to 695. And it's just chopping and chopping and chopping, ain't doing shit. I'm looking at the chart, I'm saying, oh fuck, the move already played out. But I didn't miss it because at 1:59 a.m. I went long on ES and then I sold it for a 40-point move. You know? Um, and you guys are well aware I wasn't interested in really going short or buying puts, but I brought awareness to the idea that I could try to drop first at 694 to 695. But you know, my main interest was in terms of what I chose this week was the bullish foundation of buying oversold dips and buying break and retest levels with the green, red, green pattern. I put all the cards and stacked everything within my favor. And it's not by accident that I'm green every single day in 2026. We have not experienced one red day, and I'm not planning to have one single red day in 2026 because losing is genuinely a personal choice. When the market becomes this simple, not as complex, this easy to trade, where the levels work all the time, where the confirmations are so fucking simple, and you have awareness and you adapt accordingly and you just wait to trade the best sets of his prices, how could anyone be red if they know how to trade and have proper risk management? The wins are always bigger than the losses, and we rarely have any losses. So, losing remains a personal choice. In terms of the trades that GROAR ended up making, inside of Team Roar, you gain access to a real-time zero-day options trade alert system. As you can see, the first trade of the day, 9:37 a.m. 460, Tesla calls for 48 cents. And in terms of these overall calls, they quickly went to 56 cents. So 48 cents to 56 cents. It's a very small win in that particular situation. But the reason why it was a bigger win is because, and this was a rare situation, we normally don't do this, but we did end up adding to the loser. It dropped all the way to 33 cents. Add, 38 cents. So we were in at 48 cents. We added at 38 cents, right? So in terms of that add, that should get your average to about 43 cents. And in terms of the position, 43 cents to 56 cents, it's a nice little win. It's not our best work, but green is green, especially when going green to red is a personal choice because we set profit stops. So it's actually not even a fucking choice to go red unless you don't set the profit stop. 694 SPY puts for 51 cents a contract. These went straight up to 80 cents. That's another win. 694 SPY puts for 29 cents a contract. Added at 44 cents, adding to the winners, and from 29 cents all the way to 73 cents, right? 694 SPY puts for 38 cents a contract. Add. And then in terms of this trade, as you can see, take a look at this. Look at this trade. Trade number 4. This is the 4th win in the row. Look at this. 694 SPY puts for 38 cents. Add, double the position size all the way to 161 cents. You seeing this? 29 cents to 161 cents. It's 500%. We were in at the exact lows at 38 cents. 38 cents. Add, double the position size to double the gains, add, 40 cents. Look at this. Set profit stops, 2:29 p.m. It goes to 160. Who do you know is getting in at 38 and selling at the peak at 160 cents for 400% return? And then before that, had three massive wins. And then before that, I called out a 40-point move on ES. What other team, what other group do you know of is winning this much, this consistent, this big every single day, giving you the best levels of interest to be trading within the market? You really got to ask yourself, why come there's not another channel who's giving out levels that work this well, calling out the exact moves before they happen every single day, teaching you the strategies, break and retest, breakdown and retest, gap close reversals, oversold trend reversals. Dude, all we do is win. After that, 692 SPY puts for 36 cents a contract. Add, triple it, 27 cents, add it at 27 cents. Look at this. 96 cents. Are you seeing this? We just had a 400% win on puts. And then we enter another trade, 692 SPY puts at 36 cents. Add, triple it at 27 cents, right? And then look, it goes to 100 cents. That's another 300% win. Where are you going to be able to win this much, this consistent, this big? You know? The best part about Team Roar is not just the results, but the exposing, the truth, the realness. When you have a trading group this real, that's winning this much, that's winning this big, that's winning this consistent, it really exposes on who trading is for and who it's not. You know, people think they could just trade on their own. I'm like, dude, if you trade on your own, how the fuck are you going to do better than us? And you can enter the trades and take all the trades and fucking print. I just don't see, like, how the fuck is anyone going to be able to fucking do us? If you want to trade on your own, that's just you, you know, trying to level up and trying to learn and become self-sufficient. And that's great and that's cool, but with decades of experience in the market, multi-millionaires, a group with a fuck ton of traders who don't leave, I just don't see how you're going to get better trades in this. You know, you could trade on your own and get results. You can also trade on your own and not do as good as us. You can also trade on your own and go fucking red. But in terms of results and experience, I just don't think that anyone's going to be able to outperform us. You know, I do believe in people, and I respect people who choose to be self-sufficient and learn and grow and become more comfortable with our system as well. But like, to pass that up on the table and to not consider that opportunity where you literally gain access to the best trades and the best trade alert system in the market, it's just, I genuinely don't see how anyone's going to be able to do better than our trades. You know, we create the strategies. We're all self-taught. We created the strategies. We created the game plans. We call the trades. I just don't see how people are going to do better than our overall trades. Can they become profitable? Yes, but they're not going to get the same results we're getting. They're not going to be timing it as right, making as many wins, holding as long as we are, adding to the wins. You know, they don't have the whole fucking system. And a lot of people are just going to be red trading on their own. There was a guy in our group today. We had all these wins. Can you believe this, man? I was looking in the chat today. We have all these wins, 300%, 400%. I looked in the chat and I said, someone said they were red because they were just making their own trades and they weren't trading our trades. And I'm thinking, like, dude, why the fuck is this person even in the group? And then I'm also fucking thinking, this motherfucker lost $3,000 trading on his own. And I'm sitting here saying, dude, we charge a small monthly subscription fee and we give him the best trades to print every single day. How the fuck is anyone going to be able to outperform us? Some people say like alerts are not the answer. Well, trading's trading. How the fuck are you going to be able to trade better than us? The game plans print dude, they're printing in fucking futures. We're trading fucking futures. I had to start trading fucking futures because my style of trading is to trade the best setups, the best prices. And I'm sitting here saying, dude, a lot of my fucking plays are playing out during futures. And I'm a fucking night owl. I'm up all fucking hours of the fucking day. So I'm sitting here saying, fuck, now I got to trade a different asset class too. I can't just trade options. I got to trade futures because me personally, I'm someone who trades the best setup at the best prices. And with 0 date options, it doesn't give you that opportunity to trade when the stock market is closed during normal trading hours. And if we have a best play playing out, like literally a play's getting ready to be played out, I'm prepping to make a futures trade here shortly. You know, to buy an oversold dip if that happens in a pre-market. Who knows, if it reacts bearish, I might take the trade to scalp against it, and then I might buy the oversold dip. Dude, I might have 2 futures trades coming up. By the time this video is posted, I might be in a trade. And then by the time you join, I might be on another trade. And then if you join before the market open, you're going to get like fucking 4 to 8 more fucking trades. And they're going to be nonstop wins, dude. Who the fuck? 692 SPY puts at 36 cents a contract. 96 cents, 300% win. So the past 2 wins were 700%. The wins before that in total were like 150%. And then you have 1 loss. We don't go green to red. We start green first. And if we ever start red first, which rarely ever fucking happens, you know, if we do, the wins are bigger than the losses, so we don't even have to win first. But like I said, we usually win first, which makes it even easier for everyone to just fucking win if they take all of the trades, especially the first ones, and then just walk away when they're green, or if they choose to keep on trading, they don't risk more than 25 to 50% of their overall gains, and that could be risked on the next trade, or it can also be risked on a couple trades, depending on your account size and how much risk you want to take. But you know the prices of the contracts, you know what you're doing, you're responsible for your own money in trading, right? 6935 SPX puts for 160 cents. 6940 SPX puts for 145 cents. As you can see, there was two YOLOs. SPX Extravaganza YOLO session. There was two losses, and those were each 100% losses. Now, it doesn't flip us green to red because when we keep on trading, we size down and we always make sure we can make more and more trades without going green to red if they all end up being losers. And we were already green up massively on the day, so that just makes it easier for everyone to win. But yes, we finally did have a session where the power hour session did not work out, which is completely fine because everybody knows to take all the trades, not just the power hour trades. And also, all of the past power hour trading sessions have worked out tremendously, and we've experienced 1000% gains multiple times. So a 200% loss does not hold a candle next to a 1000% win, especially when you add to the win. It's completely non fucking existent. The reason why we take these trades, even if they're L's or not, is because part of trading is to trade. And when you trade the way we trade, you win big and you lose small, even when you have losses. So that is phenomenal work. That is out fucking standing. And that is simply doing your job. Part of your job is to fucking trade. And you know, it's not always it's not always about, in terms of trading, it's not necessarily always about um you know, trying to do the absolute best setup at the best price. Sometimes for certain traders, trading's about trading, and they don't mind having losses on the day, especially after they already had several massive wins on the overall day. They would rather just keep on trading, 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 because regardless, even if that power hour session is red, the next one will be tremendously green, and the wins always outweigh the losses. But me personally, in terms of my style and preference, I prefer to trade the best setups at the best prices. So in terms of my style of trading, it's very educational. And when you trade a very educational approach, it means that you basically do what I did today, which was, in terms of my standards, I just wanted to buy oversold dips and buy break and retest levels and be extremely cautious and careful with puts. So you know, after that massive win on ES, I decided to just call it because the price action was shit and I wasn't too interested or focused on puts or even just in general, just trading this overall mess. But GWAR absolutely crushed it on that and killed it. But like I said, everyone has different systems and different styles of trading. In terms of my personal preference, I'll always be trading less because I trade a certain curriculum. That's my main style of trading. Um, so in a way, you can actually think of me as someone who is necessarily a different type of trader. Some traders trade because no matter fucking what, if they just keep trading, 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 they're just gonna keep winning, 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 winning. So it's more about trading. For me, it's more about the best setups to the best prices. So for me, it's more of a curriculum system, a more of an educational system, rather than just a trading system. Both of the systems work. It's just for the type of person I am and you know, for what it is that I do, I've always preferred the more educational route and to trade less and to just trade the best setups to the best prices. One thing you'll see inside of Team Roar in the real-time zero-date options train alert system, it's about trading. And one way to become better at trading is to actually fucking trade, right? But me personally, I really focus on the curriculum and the best setups of prices and educational system, which is why I didn't call any options trades out today because there was no way that I was going to be able to top a 40-point move on ES with all of this fucking chop. And for someone with their educational system was avoiding overall puts, even though I had bearish zones at 694, 695. One of the reasons why I was avoiding puts as well is just because it was so fucking choppy and I was so fucking green on ES. And in terms of from the educational view, you know, I know how to trade against the trend and it's not the best thing. Obviously, you can make a fuck ton of money doing it very well. One tip I will give you is if you want to trade against the trend, do it during power hour. That you should write that down. That's very valuable insight. For those of you who do want to make trades against the trend, one rule you can add to your system is to do it during power hour because it's cheap and low risk and it's going to be the most substantial gains against the trend. If you do it earlier, it's going to be small gains and the market's going to keep on trying to follow the trend, right? That's key insight that most people overlook. But like I said, one of the reasons why I just kind of avoided options today is simply because the ES trade worked out. My game plan printed to a T. So I traded the best setup at the best price, and that was it. That's just who I am personally. I'm more of like, I trade the best setup at the best price. I don't just want to keep on trade, 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 trade. Like inside of Team Roar, this is a trading machine. This is a fucking weapon. This is a fucking live execution machine that just keeps on trading, 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 trading. You know, at times there could be, you know, two losses, but typically we start the day off first, and the wins are always bigger than the losses. So if you just keep on taking the trades, it always outweighs it in that particular situation, especially if you have some capital, you know, like 3,500 to 5,000 to trade with, and you follow risk management 101. But like I said, for someone, for just the type of person I am, my style has always been to trade less, not more, and to trade the best setups at the best prices. Um, that's just my personal preference, you know, with trading rather than trying to make the most amount of fucking trades and trade, trade, trade. Um, rather than just the trade, 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 right? Two types of differences. Some traders trade, trade, trade. You can say in a way they're traders. Other traders are like, dude, I want an educational system, self sufficiency, best setups at best prices, very high standards. Even if there's a play here and it's lucrative, maybe I don't take it. Maybe I don't trade, right? And the reason why I don't trade in that situation, even if maybe there's confirmation, is because maybe it's not the easiest way to win, right? So maybe it's caring about a win rate, or maybe it's just care about what's best about the overall trend, right? But then other traders see it differently. You know, other traders know, well, if I trade, I'm still gonna fucking win anyways, right? But just in terms of where I'm at personally, I get the other side. It's just I really prefer to win in a way where it's genuinely just the best setup at the best prices, rather than in a way where it's trade, trade, trade. But the cool thing is both of the ways work. Um, but for just such a very long time, and my foundation, you know, for anyone who knows me, has always been education and curriculum rather than just trading, 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 and taking the trades. You know, there could be a phenomenal trade against the trend. I might not take it because maybe I'm already green on the day, or maybe my standards are so high and I'm already green on the day where I'm like, dude, this could be a nice trade against the trend. And if I do this in the long term, you know, I'll end up winning. But you know what? I did the best setup at the best price, and it was the easiest way to make money. That's another thing. For me, I kind of like, in a way, the easiest ways to make money rather than trade, 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 and you're still going to make money with the system. So it's just some differences. And, you know, throughout time, who knows? I could change more and I could be more of a trader and trade, trade, trade. But just some differences in terms of where I'm at and just personal preferences with the best setups and the best price. It's like, dude, if I make a golden game plan and I hit it, I'm probably going to sway away doing things like trading against the trend or just not taking trades that are considered not the best setups, right? Because I'm very strategic with how I function within the market, and that's just how my system works. It's just more educational, more curriculum. Team Roar, that's a fucking weapon. That's unlimited fucking trades, unlimited trading systems, and both of the systems work. You know, this channel gives you the blueprint, educational and game plans to print, and then Team Roar gives you the best fucking trades, nonstop trade, 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 trade. So we got it all, man. I got the best trades in terms of the best setups, best price, and then Team Roar has the greatest zero date options train alert system to ever exist on the fucking planet, and it's a real trading nonstop fucking system. You could think of my system as an educational system that works, and it has to do with less trading but substantial wins. And then you could think of Team Roar as a non-stop trading alert zero date system. That's the absolute best zero date options trade alert system in the game. Obviously less educational, more for people who want to trade, but if you trade, you actually learn how to trade, especially when you're making this many trades. So is the first link down below within the description if you would like to join us. um you know, you gain access to a real-time zero-date options trade alert system. You also gain access to our real-time secure private network and our trades, right? At this point in time, we are currently not offering, you know, like educational live trading streams, live streams, voice channels, courses, you know, um, private messaging or anything like that. We're not offering that at this point in time. Within the future, that's something that I am consider of doing, of launching another educational group. The last educational group that I actually launched, Gwar was one of the students that I trained with in the group, and he also helped me with my trading. So we both helped each other. Many of the people in the group, you know, everybody leveled up and grew in different ways. And you know, all kinds of people within the group, they all learned from each other and learned, you know, from one another in different things. You know, everybody took gems from one another and learned certain things in the group. It's a fucking amazing group. I mean, in terms of the group that I have, is the educational group, Trader Society. We launched Team Roar inside of it, which is the best real-time zero-date options train alert system. And then ever since that launched, you know, I haven't been I decided to not launch the educational group yet. I decided to not launch it yet. Oh, somebody just joined Team Roar. But anyways, I decided to not launch it yet. Um, and there's plenty of reasons for that. It's something that I don't have to do. I no longer have to do it. We do very well in trading, and we also do very well with Team Roar. It's a very successful business, but it is something that I do enjoy doing. And like I said, in the future, I do plan to launch it. It's not going to be likely like a lifetime access or anything like that. It's just going to be a limited time, small group. When that launches, I will let you know. It is likely to expected to launch, and I'll announce that on the YouTube channel sometime during 2026. But that is something that I enjoy doing is working with other traders and creating traders. But I haven't done it since 2022. It's been quite some time. It's something that I don't have to do, but I do enjoy doing it. And I do see myself doing it at least one more time. I'll let you know when we decide to do that. If you actually want to learn how to become self-sufficient and learn my educational system that led to, starting Team Roar and also led to many other traders leveling up. They started their own businesses and they went off and traded on their own and were successful. Many different stories and testimonials. Um, that group was fucking insane, man. So much results and so much shit fucking happened. But yeah, like I said, man, in the future I do plan to launch one more and then I'll do it for a limited time and then from there I'm going to have to decide like if that's something I want to do again or not because I haven't done this in years. I know I want to try it at least once, but after that, I don't know if I'm going to do another term or not. That's something I have to see once I actually do it because I haven't done something like this in years. If I enjoy doing it and want to do it, I'll do it, because me, the way I run my life, money personally isn't everything, but I already make a fuck ton of money. But like, it's something I genuinely don't have to do. It's more of a time thing and more of something that I want to do. But another thing is, it's like when I do something like that, I go all in and I put my entire like heart, mind, and soul into that fucking shit. And basically, if I did something like that, it's going to take a lot of time from me, from my lifestyle. Because if there's people who want to learn from me, and my job is to level them up, to create traders, to make them the absolute best traders, right? You could think of Team Roar, that's the money printing trades. And then you can think of my educational group when it does launches, that's the money printing traders, right? So I trained a bunch of people. GROAR was one of them. Money printer trader, right? That's what I create. I create money printer traders. And inside of Team Roar, what they create is money printing trades, right? So there's two sides to the equation. There's one side that gives you the best money printing trades, and then there's the other side that gives you the money printing traders. Who are the best traders? Who can create the best traders and help make you the best trader you can possibly be and be self-sufficient, where you don't even need Team Roar. But even if you were the best trader, you would still want Team Roar because I'm telling you, dude, no matter how good you fucking get, no matter who you learn from, no matter what the fuck you experience, I just don't see how anyone's going to be able to get better than the level that we're fucking on. I can certainly make you better, but man, to be able to make better trades than this, shit, that's gonna be. I've never seen anything fucking like it, man. We're on the absolute fucking top of the zero day options trade market. But yeah, if you want a money printing trade machine, it's the first link down below within the description. You also gain access to the community, the real time secure private organization. In terms of the educational company, like I said, I launched that in 2022. I served that group, those people, for over a year. I did not charge a lot. I did so fucking much for all of them. The shit I fucking did, dude, that group should have cost thousands, and that should have cost fucking 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. Like, fucking, we gave these people a life changing fucking experience that they couldn't get anywhere else. It was a special group, and I did that for over a year, and then I closed it, and then I focused on Team Roar. And as I focused on Team Roar, I became better at trading. GROAR has a very unique trade alert system. I've always had the educational system. I've learned some of the framework in terms of the mechanics of like, from GROAR, the things I've learned from him was like, um, you got to hold your trades longer. And SPX, you got to trade SPX past 3:30 p.m. He told me about that. I looked at his system and then I figured this shit out on my own. But one of the things that GROAR has helped with my trading was like a foundation. Like you know, trade SPX only during power hour, right? Work on holding your trades longer, right? Don't use stop losses, set profit stops, basically those four things, and hold your trades longer. Those things like helped, but I really had to figure that shit out. But just fusing with him and working alongside him together, like that helped in a way too. But yeah, man, for someone to really show, and that's what I do as well. I show traders, how to open their eyes, how to open their eyes to the market, the best levels to trade at, the best strategies to use, 30-minute chart, all that stuff, right? If you can have someone come along and show you that, and then really go at it, take the gems, put yourself all into it and figure that shit out, like I did, you can level up like fucking crazy, man. Like, dude, I used to train people all day. I would work all fucking day, training, coaching, teaching, trading with the group in the chat 24 fucking 7. I did that for a very long time. And then we launched Team Roar, and the fucking trade our trading went up like fucking crazy. I got so much better at trading. Like it's at a point we don't even like, dude, we don't even need like the money we make from Team Roar, like we don't even like need the money we make from like Team Roar. Like that's just what comes with being the absolute best. Like we operate in this business because we've been in business. We love business. This is what we love to do, you know? When the market's closed, we like to make more money. And we like operating in businesses that we're good at, that we're the best at, and that we're very passionate about. That's just the people that we are, you know? Um, and we've been doing this for over a decade, but man, just leveling up so much. It's like the position I'm in, like at this point, I literally don't have to do any fucking thing. We have so many members in here who've stayed for years. I don't even have to post videos. I don't have to post videos. I don't have to market any fucking thing. I don't have to do any fucking thing. These people stay, they never leave. Um, and not just that, it's like that's, dude, we just trade. All we do is trade. Like we're off the grid. We just trade nonstop. We win nonstop. But like I said, man, it is something that I genuinely enjoy doing. So just know, sometime during 2026, I'm going to launch an educational group. It's going to be very strategic on how I do this. It's not going to waste my time. It's not going to waste other people's time. I'm going to make sure everything's secure. I don't want anyone getting scammed or anything like that or dealing with bullshit bots. Just no bullshit going around. I don't want bullshit fucking DMs, all the scammers, these bots, these impersonators, all these people trying to, when you start teaching people shit and they level up, some of them try to snake you, take your members, solicit them into their group or solicit them into another group. Like these are things I don't want to fucking deal with because I've dealt with this in the past. Um, and when I give my all into something, I don't want to experience the bullshit that comes with that, especially again. Like I've lived, I learned. So it's like there is some evil in this world and I'm aware of it. Um, so I'm just gonna make sure that everything's secure and private. Because I'm telling you, dude, we have a lot of groups, like all eyes are on us, and they're all silently watching, whether that's them trying to take our trades, whether that's them trying to fuck with our business, whatever the fuck. Like, dude, people fuck around, they find out real quickly. Um, but man, if I'm in educating mode and creating the best traders, it's something that I don't want to deal with, and I can't even deal with that, dude. Like if I'm trying to create the best traders possible, I need to be working with real people that fill out an application or get on the phone, and there's people I actually want to work with. I need to make sure that there's no way to get scammed. Everything's fucking secured. There's no way for people to solicit or just start some bullshit in the fucking group. Like, dude, my fucking group, these people are gonna level up like fucking crazy, Like think about it like this. Team Roar, it's a money printing machine. People come in here, they print money all fucking day. It's trading. That's what it is. My group, it's gonna be the printer that creates the traders, that creates the fucking best of the traders. Me, G Roar, that creates the absolute best traders. That's what my group's gonna fucking do. It's gonna be on level on so high self fucking sufficiency where they're gonna be profitable on their own. They're gonna be profitable on their own. They're still gonna want to join our group because it's the best trades. Some of them won't because they just want to be self sufficient and they don't want a community. They don't want the best trades, which is completely fine. If you know how to trade on your own, you don't need the best trades. But it's very advantageous to have that, and it's always worth the investment. Um, I don't think people are going to be able to be better than us, but man, people can create their own lane with my curriculum and I'll teach them how to create their own system. My system, they'll level up like fucking crazy. But look, that's in the future. I'll let you know when that launches. If you want the money printer is here. And then in terms of my printer, I've got money printers, but like I said, with this other company that I launched, the main goal is to print traders. I'm talking like I'm going to create traders that are not only self-sufficient, but they're going to be so good that they're going to start questioning, like, dude, they're going to want to open businesses. They're going to want to get hired by me, or they're going to want to go off and start their own business. Like, that's to the level I'm talking about. Not to the level where they're just self-sufficient and profitable, but to a level where, like, dude, they're going to be so good if they want to. These motherfuckers are either going to want to work for me, or they're going to want to just go off and start their own business, with the shit that I taught them, right? So what I'm telling you is, man, that's what I do. I'm the architect, the traders. I create traders. That's what I do. I create the money printing traders. And then inside of Team Roar, this is the money printing machine. This is the top of the line. You ain't going to find a better money printing machine than this, right? If you want the money printing self sufficient machine, the best educational system on the market where you become self sufficient, so good where you teach your friends, family, go off and start your own business because you're self sufficient and profitable, that's where I shine the absolute brightest. But inside of Team Roar, these are the absolute best trade system, right? You're not going to see me making this many trades because I trade the best setups, the best prices. It's a self sufficient curriculum that led to many amazing things happen, such as starting Team Roar. So, with that being said, it's the first thing down below in the description if you'd like to trade alongside us. I'm going to be signing off. Fridays are known for being our absolute best trading days. We're going to absolutely crush it. I encourage you all to trade alongside us and join us.